Alright, EDH fans, welcome back to another deck tech video. Just right off the bat, I want to address real quick. Quite a few people have been asking recently for deck lists on Tapped Out. I would like to get those up for you guys, so I'm going to try and put some time into it in the next few weeks. Get that done for a few of my other videos. I have some changes coming up. This deck has actually been created and is about to be taken apart. It's going to be version 3 what we're moving into. Saffi was originally a Ragnar deck. Then I realized I wanted to do a lot of creature combos, so I went into the Saffi route. It's a pretty competitive infinite deck with it's sort of unique in a few different ways, but what's really going to make it unique is what you can look forward to in the future, which is we're going to go back to Ragnar, but we're going to do an Alarin combo deck with Ragnar. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing that. But today's general is Saffi. I think this is a underplayed competitive commander. It's a lot of fun. You just got to have some friends who are okay with infinite loops. Which, you know, depending on your play group is easy or hard. People have mixed feelings about infinites. I think they're fine personally as long as the game's over. You know, an infinite turn thing that takes 10 minutes and maybe wins is really lame. But something that just says, hey, I have created my loop and the game is over, I'm fine with that because the game's over and I don't have to wait around for you to fiddle with your cards. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here. Saffi herself is part of the infinite loop, so having part of your combo in your command zone is really great, and her ability in general just keeps your board going because you're able to preserve creatures during wipes and other things. So we're gonna go into the creatures first. Oh, look at that camera go. Yeah, I still gotta get a new camera, guys. I am gonna do that. Part of the reason I really agree with this deck list idea, I do understand good equipment is needed for good videos, so doing my best for now, and I'll get those deck lists up. So first up, Birds of Paradise, pretty classic. Soul to Harvest. This one you can draw your entire deck with. Whenever a non-token creature enters, you get to draw a card. So with the Saffi Infinite Loop, which you'll see shortly, yeah, you'll be able to draw your whole deck. Thalia's Lancers next up. Lancers are great. They tutor for a legendary permanent. This includes lands and other things. You run a Core Haven, and so this is really versatile. It's usually used for the Core Haven or the Growing Rights of Itlimoc, which is the new Gaia's Cradle. Those top two targets. And having a 4/4 first strike is never bad. Next up is Gaddock Teague. Gaddock Teague is awesome in this deck. This entire deck pretty much is built to play around a Gaddock Teague. So we have a lot of creature tutors, and they can all go fetch them up. And getting this out early, or mid-game rather, is very strong, denying your opponent certain spells. That would have a huge impact. Renegade Rallier. This is the most reliable card to go infinite with Saffi with once you have a sack outlet like an Ashnod's Altar. Simply because he's both colors, he'll be able to be hit by the Green Sun Zenith. He's also a 3/2, so your Recruit of the Guard will be able to hit it as well. It pretty much is just able to be hit by every creature tutor in the deck, even though a lot of them have certain requirements. Next up, we have Amaria Shepherd. I really like Amaria Shepherd. I think it's a good card in a combo deck. It's a nice late game flyer. There's another neat little combo in here. This plus Sakura Tribuilder, you can loop it to actually go and get every plains in your deck, because once Tribuilder hits the yard and the plains hits the field, you can pull the Tribuilder back out from the yard and keep doing that until all your plains are on the library. So I'm just trying to get my cat out of the way because he's about to knock over the camera. Little rascal. Next up we have Regal Force. Yeah, combo deck. We want to draw cards. We're running Avenger Zendikar and a Hornet Queen to get out tokens once we get our ramp going. And a lot of our little weenies, you know, will net us draws late game, which is great. Next up we have Recruiter of the Guard, the first of many creature tutors. This one goes and grabs a creature with toughness 2 or less and puts it in a hand. Very useful. I got this card about a month and a half ago, and every time I resolve it, I get something I need. Eternal Witness, just sort of your classic. Recursion in this deck's great, it's tutorable. So, we run a ton of creature spells in this deck. We run just about as many creatures as we do lands, just shy, I think. So what this means is we have a lot of creature spells. This is going to benefit us more than it's going to benefit our opponents generally. And since we're a combo deck again, getting deeper into the deck is what we want to do to finish off our loop. Same vein, we have Thalia here, who's going to tax all of our opponents for their non-creature spells. It taxes us as well, but you know, we're playing green, we have ramp, our average CMC is really low. It's, you know, majority of these cards are 2 or 3 to cast, so. And our removal's cheap, you know, it's swords, it's path, it's that sort of stuff, so paying 1 more, that's fine. Dauntless Escort, this is really great with Saffi, becomes board wipe insurance. Pretty much you can just sacrifice your Saffi to bring this back after making your board indestructible, and yeah, if you're going to initiate the board wipe or an opponent, then you're probably walking away on the better end of it. Prowling Serpopard, it's a 3 to cast 4/3, which is fine in and of itself. Can't be countered, and more importantly, creature spells you control can't be countered. So this is ensuring that when it's our turn and we're doing our creature combos, that we're actually going to resolve the spells we need to initiate our infinite loop. Arcana Justice, this debatably could be a Palace Jailer. Oh, can't see, it's 4/4. 1 second. Pardon me. Still a little ill. So 5 to cast, 4/4 flying. When it dies, exile permanent. I really like this card. When it's recurred, it's great. It's pretty good at getting people to not attack you. So yeah, I've liked this over the Palace Jailer, but I would definitely check out Palace Jailer as he makes you the Monarch and that you can net you draws, and it's still abusable with the Saffi. But having the flexibility of any permanent, that's what I like. And the flying. We don't have a ton of flying in this deck. Woodland Bellower, classic card. Goes and gets you a green creature, non-legendary, with CMC 3 or less, and puts it right onto the field. So it can be a utility creature, or it could be like a Fierce Empath, which will get you a bigger creature. Karmic Guide, this goes infinite with Saffi. We can just recur them into the sacrifice loop, one bringing back the other. Reclamation Sage, yeah, it's your classic. You want to hit those artifacts and enchantments early, slow down your opponent, and, you know, seize control of the tempo. Mentor the Meek. This is another way, if you have an infinite loop with, let's say, an Ashnod's Altar in your creatures, you can draw your deck with the Mentor of the Meek and get into a Altar of the Brood or Altar of Dementia or Blasting Station, whatever it is that'll actually get the kill off. So this is like the Soul of the Harvest, can draw you the deck in certain situations. There's the Fierce Empath. When it hits the field, we go get a creature with CMC 6 or more, put it into our hand. Yeah, good utility. Counts towards your Regal Force. And we also run a Cryptolith Rite. So a lot of these weenies that don't tap for mana can tap for mana and have a purpose beyond their ATB and chump blocking. There's the Sacrificial Tribe Elder. Everyone knows it. Great card. Notably, sacrificing it will trigger Raid on the Renegade Rallier, which is hardly relevant, but, you know, sometimes. Acidic Slime. Death Touch. Hit some stuff on the field, bit of control. Yeah, good card. Just, you know, another target that's nice to recur with Saffi every once in a while. Better target, arguably, is the Yavimaya Elder. This is great when you keep greedy hands, because you can go second turn Saffi, third turn Elder, and then turn 4, you could sacrifice the Elder, bring it back, you get your draw, you get your 2 lands, and you're set up for mid-game. So I really like this card. I've always really liked this card. I love that art. Grand Abolisher. Again, we're a combo deck, so we want to lock up our turn so that our opponents can't really interact on it. and we can, you know, do our thing carefree. A Sylvan Caryatid, just because Hexproof's really nice. 0/3 can block a few of the early game beaters, and we get mana in any color. So all around great card. There's the Hornet Queen. Yeah, 2/2. So funnily enough, even though it's a 7-drop, this could actually be we can go get this with Recruiter the Guard as well. You'll get 4/1/1s with Flying Death Touch when it enters, and it too has Flying Death Touch. So it's just the wall against flyers, because generally, you know, you don't run a ton of flyers in green, and I didn't really substitute a package of flying in white other than the Amarius Shepherd and the Archon of Justice and a Bygone Bishop, maybe another 1 or 2, but there's not a ton. Ramunap Excavator, there's a ton of ways you can abuse this. We're not doing any strip mine, gross stuff, because we're already playing an infinite combo deck, and I just thought that was even worse. You know, I've taken this out a couple times and played with friends, and they already grown a bit, so, you know, we got a fetch in here. We got a couple other little tricks. We have a Constant Mists, which is probably the best thing it lets us spam Fog, but nothing to eat their lands. Sun Titan, I'm sure everyone knows it by now. It hits a vast majority of the deck, like Sun Titan usually does in my decks. Yeah, awesome card. Wall of Blossoms. Really, we just want to draw, and if we can get our board back, recur cards that draw as well, and dissuade people from attacking us. That's the goal. We just want to get to this combo. So, perfect card in the deck. Spore Frog, that's our only other fog effect in the game, other than the Constant Mists. Well, I shouldn't say in the game, in our deck. This, yeah, again, you can use Saffi to get two uses out of this. You can recur it pretty easily, so it can buy you time. You can even tutor it up with the Woodland Bellower in certain situations if you know you're just about to get blown out. Fiend Hunter, abusable with Saffi's text. You can, if you have a sacrifice outlet, you can play Fiend Hunter, sack Fiend Hunter, bring it back with Saffi, and you'll get the permanent exile on one of those targets. Avacyn's Pilgrim, pretty simple. We just want a bit of ramp. Scavenging Ooze. This is our only piece of graveyard hate. Debatably, this deck could run more. Not debatably, this deck could run more. I only really need one, maybe 2 pieces more. Because I chose Scavenging Ooze. Well, I chose Scavenging Ooze because, I should say, it's very tutorable. I can get it with a lot of things, and if I'm playing a graveyard deck, chances are I can still go find this busted out, and hopefully it doesn't get removed. I'm in a bit of trouble when it gets blown up, so yeah, I should have probably one more backup for graveyard hate. Avenger Zendikar, pretty classic. We do run a Kalni Garden. I think it really earns its place in this deck. There are quite a few creature tutors, like the Altar of Bone and Eldritch Evolution, that required you to sacrifice a creature. So plant token off Kalni Garden, which synergizes with this and the other things. I was like, yeah, I can run this. And just in general, having an Avenger is a great way of filling up your board post-wipe, or setting up for a great Regal Force. And those plant tokens do a lot of work when you have a Cryptolith right in play, and they can all tap for mana. Bygone Bishop, again, this is another... oh, no, it's not, sorry. Because it's a cast trigger, unlike the Mentor of the Meek, we can't abuse this with the loop, with the Saffi loop. So that is notable. Keep that in mind. But netting a ton of clue tokens is a great way to get deeper. Wall of Omens, it's pretty much Wall of Blossoms, but white. It's more common, I would say. Fauna Shaman, I actually almost got a Survival Fittest for this deck, but I decided against it because Fauna Shaman was 1/5 of the price, and I could tutor it way easier because it is a 2/2 CMC 3 or less creature. So it worked out being better in a lot of ways, coincidentally, which was nice for me because I didn't really want to invest in that if I didn't need to. Timely Horde Mate. this is a bit of a funny way of initiating your infinite because you have to have attacked. But you can just attack with Saffi and then play your Timely Hornmate. So, yeah, it does go infinite, but you have to attack first before you initiate your loop with Saffi and your Sacrifice Outlet. And then the last creature is another Sacrifice Loop creature, which is the Revelark. This one is awesome. I had a board state a while back where I had this and Saffi and pretty much everything except for a Archon of Justice on my board was a creature and could be brought back with the Revelark. So if anyone board wiped, not only would I survive with the Saffi and the Revelark, but I'd also keep my entire board. I ended up winning that game by top decking an Eternal Witness and bringing back a Soul of the Harvest, having an Ashnod's Ultra in play, and then just drew my deck, had infinite mana, and cheesed them real good. They were not too happy, but hey, you know, sometimes it happens. Okay, so those are the creatures. We're going to move on to the artifacts because that's kind of the second half of all your jank combos. I think it's important to get these two out of the way in succession. Lifecrafter's Bestiary, this again, scry and draw. That's what the deck wants to do, so that's why we're doing it. Blasting Station, this is a French Blasting Station. Essentially, you can tap it, sack a creature, and it'll deal 1 damage to target creature or player. However, whenever a creature enters the battlefield, we untap the Blasting Station. So if we are using this with our Saffi loop, we are constantly bringing cards back into the battlefield and then sacrificing them to do 1 damage. So we can loop this to infinity and kill everyone and everything on the board. One of the easiest ways to do it is the Altar of the Brood. It's a 1 to cast artifact, and whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under my control, each opponent top decks a card. So yeah, you have your Saffi loop with a Sacrifice Outlet, and every opponent mills their deck, and they all lose. Next up, we have a Birthing Pod. This is just utility. Really great utility. You can bust it out for 3, pay a couple life. You can activate it for 1 if you pay a couple life. So it's really cheap, really quick, and because of this large creature toolbox package, we get some work done with this. Also, it's a way to get 2 triggers out of a creature you want to with Saffi by sacrificing it and bringing it back. Lightning Greaves, this is protection for some of our key pieces like Grand Abolisher, something we really need on the field to be safe when we are going to try and initiate our combo. You don't really want to put this on anything that you're thinking of bringing back with Saffi at any point in the game, just because you won't be able to target it with her ability. So I usually put it on Saffi herself, just so they can't force me to activate her ability in an awkward time or totally negate it. Altar of Dementia is the other outlet that lets us mill all of our opponents to death. It is a sacrifice outlet and a win condition, so it's the two for 1. Yeah, it's a really great card. You know, played in a lot of decks. I'm sure you've seen it. Soul Ring, just because this is Commander and I play 4-player, thank goodness. Phyrexian Altar, this is just so that we can get infinite mana with a sacrifice loop, and best part about it is it's colored mana, so we can play our hand, dig as deep as we can to find the finishing piece, or any card that'll let us draw our deck so we can find the finishing piece and end the game. Staff of Domination. This is an interesting backup plan, sort of. Really, when this is useful is when you have infinite mana but you don't have a way of drawing your deck. That's what you're doing with Staff of Domination. So if you have the Ashnod's Altar, you have the Phyrexian Altar, you're able to produce infinite mana with Saffi and another creature, but you are not able to draw into a kill con. If you hit your Staff of Domination, you will be able to draw your deck and win the game. There's the old Ashnod's Altar. Let's see, sack creature to add 2 colorless. Awesome card. I play it in almost every deck these days just because I like mana, I like ramp, and I like being able to sacrifice it in speed so my shit doesn't get exiled. That in and of itself is also very useful. Skull Clamp, yeah, you draw a ton of cards, your stuff gets blown up, you blow up your own stuff. Sometimes you just want to kill your own thing. It's never really a bad call to run a Skull Clamp. Unless you're playing like dragons, but even then, like, just put it on a dragon, go in. I think next up I'll do the enchantments. The spell package is the yeah. It's like it's good, you know, but it's just the least important because we're a combo deck. It's not what we're about. So here's the Cryptolith Rite. It's a 2 to cast enchantment. Creatures you control have tap. Add 1 of any color to your mana pool. This is an absolutely amazing card. I love this card to pieces, and it's so cheap. Like, go get a copy of it before it goes up, because I have a feeling, and it's probably going to take a while, but I have a feeling it's going to go up. Growing Rights, I'll read this one out because, yeah, this looks a little weird on the camera, but what it does, hits a field, you look at the top 4 cards of your library, you put a creature card from them into your hand, and then put the rest on the bottom in any order. Then at the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more creatures, you transform Growing Rights into a Gaia's Cradle. Which lets you tap to add 1 green mana for each green creature you control. So this is a really, really, really fun card. Pretty much you play your dorks and your ramp and all that early. You play your Growing Rights. If you can get it to flip, you're in a good position to just skip right to late game in terms of what you're casting. Pattern of Rebirth. This is an amazing card with Saffi. Simply because we put it on Saffi herself. We just need another creature in play to target. And we can sacrifice Saffi, target the other creature, then go get the piece that'll initiate a loop with Saffi in terms of bringing her back. So this gets the other half of your combo. If it's not doing that, it's sort of getting whatever you need in your deck for the current board situation. So this card is absolutely amazing. Yeah. Evolutionary Leap. This is just a nice little sacrifice outlet. Gets you more creatures. You know, it's sort of like Survival of the Fittest, except it's $1. So that's why it's in here. I just like having the extra outlets, and netting creatures is always good. The last 2, these are a little funny. Well, I guess this one, the other one's Fecundity, which is pretty common in Saffi. But what this one does is whenever a non-token creature dies, investigate, and then whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a 1/1 human into play. So the funny thing about this card is, again, if we have infinite mana and we're doing our loop, we can draw our deck with the clues and at the same time produce that many 1/1 humans. Now, there's no way to give them haste in the deck, but it's just like a funny, you know, I win the game and have 50 humans. The last one is Fecundity. Whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, that creature's controller may draw a card. So playing this early with nothing going on your side is sometimes a little risky, but generally we're rushing out a lot of quick creatures, and we can play this early, and we're probably going to get more value than all of our opponents, even if we're not going infinite with it right off the bat. So lastly, we have the spells. Yeah, we're at 23 minutes. Sorry, this video is a little longer. It's a complicated deck, but I wanted to show everyone. We've got Austere Command, all the great modes. Yeah, you're pretty much always coming out on top with this card. That's why I love it. We've got the Altar of Bone, which I talked about earlier. This is pretty much sacrifice a creature, tutor up a creature, put it into your hand. Sorcery speed. We've got the Eldritch Evolution, which is sacrifice a creature, search for a creature with CMC 2 more than the creature's power, and then put it right onto the battlefield. Sorcery speed. You do exile the Eldritch Evolution, so you're not getting that back with your Eternal Wit or anything like that. Sword Plowshare, just some quick cheap exile. Return to Dust, some more exile for Artifact and Enchantment. Generally, I cast this main phase because, you know, you want your 2-for-1. There's not a ton of Artifact Enchantment Destroy in this deck. Path, again, cheap removal. Day of Judgment, just really basic. Eladamri's Call, searches for a creature instant speed and puts it in a hand. A Beast Within to destroy a permanent, give him a 3/3. Here's the Constant Mist. So it has buyback, sacrifice a land. So with the Excavator, we can get those lands back. And it's a fog. So that can really stall out the game and get you, net you enough time to finish your combo. And then the last spell is a Green Sun Zenith. So we'll go on to the lands. If you're still with me, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I do love making these videos. And I think slowly, I'm just finishing school right now, but I would like to turn this back into more of a gaming channel. Winding Canyons. This is a fun card. There's not a lot of times where you're really flooding out on mana. It's a pretty greedy, aggressive, quick deck. But for those situations where you've really stabilized on a board state and you're playing a longer game, sneaking out a few creatures every once in a while is a lot of fun. Being able to play them at instant speed and really sort of throw your opponent off, it's great. A Terramorphic Expanse. A Croson Verge. Yeah, go pick up a copy of this if it's in your colors and you want some good budget lands. Fixes your mana base quite well. Just a Core Haven. Again, you can tutor it up with the Thalia's Lancers, which is nice. A High Market, just so we can have the option of sacrificing anything on our board and then bringing it back with Saffi for value. It's always nice to not have to rely on certain things. Mirror in the Moaning Well. This one is not necessary. Maybe a different version of the deck with more lands, it'd be better. But honestly, go pick up the High Market. It's way cheaper. If you find that you really want a Mirror and Moaning Well, go get it. But it's tapping essentially 4 lands to activate the ability. You really have to have a big fatty to net a good amount of life off of it. And this is more of hitting them with an infinite combo. And most of your creatures aren't beaters. They're there to draw. There's a Kalni Garden. Gets us our plant token. A Canopy Vista. A Stirring Wildwood. I like Stirring Wildwood. I never really am in a spot where I activate it, but I always think, hey, you know what? Paying 3 for a 3/4 reach, that's not so bad. Command Tower. Fortified Village. I like this card quite a bit. It's a nice, cheap dual land that you quite often get into play untapped. The Scattered Grove, New Cycler. Nice with the Excavator as well. Nice with the Excavator as well. Heath. Sun Petal Grove. And Temple Garden. And lastly, we've got a Sungrass Prairie. Just a nice little fixer. And then for our 2 basics, I went with Ice Age because, yeah, I really like theming my decks. I think it's a really fun way to add a little bit of character to something for a little less. Saffi's all Nordic and whatnot, so I took the Ice Age ones. I wanted some snowy scapes for her to roam around in before she goes infinite. I'm just going to count these up quickly so you guys have an idea of how greedy this deck is on lands. So we are running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, including the one there. So that's 9 forests and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plains. Yeah, so that's the deck. I hope you guys really enjoy this. Look forward to Ragnar. That is going to take a little while to make, I'm not going to lie. There's some expensive cards, and I've already spent my budget on the next video, which is coming up, which is going to be an insane deck. I'm not even going to spoil it. It's another mono red. I will say Neheb has not fallen, but there's a new commander in the seat. The strategy has been refined, redone. I'm just getting the last cards today for test play. It's going to be awesome. So look forward to that. Mono red again is my favorite. It's going to be pretty original, a little cheesy though, and a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you watched all the way through, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I love doing these. You know, it's just a total blast to share something I'm passionate about with you guys, who obviously share the same sentiments if we're at 30 minutes here. Yeah, thank you. Have a great day. All the best, and I'll catch you guys next time.